Hi guys, in this episode we're going to be having a look at setting up KartKraft with my DD1, and then we're also going to be having a look at some more general troubleshooting advice for getting your direct drive working in KartKraft, because KartKraft has some pretty grainy feedback and that causes havoc with our direct drive wheels. Before we go into those more general steps, let's take a look at our in-game settings for our DD1. Once we've loaded up KartKraft, we go into the settings menu and then input. On the right hand side of our screen we will see the FFB section. In there we set these settings. By default the gain is quite high in KartKraft. Let's reduce that down to 70%. Force feedback filtering we bump all the way up to 100%. This helps to reduce that graininess that we were talking about. Minimum force we leave as 0. Same with the Deadzone. And then we do not invert our force feedback. Now let's head on over to Fanalab. So if you're using Fanalab or the Fanatec control panel, go on over to the tuning menu. Make sure you've got advanced mode enabled so you can see all the settings, and then put in these settings. Set our max steering angle to 180 degrees. We will probably have to recalibrate our wheel in KartKraft after doing so, otherwise you end up with a much shorter range. Our overall FFB strength we're set as 80%. We keep our scaling on peak. Our natural damper we're run at 70% and our natural friction at 40%. I add a little bit of natural inertia here, 5%. I'm not using an interpolation filter, but feel free to do so. I turn down the force effect intensity to 90 and the rest of the game settings I leave at 100%. With those tuning menu settings set, you can go on over to game profile and save yourself that profile to be used by default in the game. To do so, go into the text box, give your profile a nice name, and then hit the save button. Once you've done that, you can make that profile your default by hitting the big red default button by the new name of your profile. That will make it gold and have a little tick on there, which means you're good to go. That will load up every time you load up KartKraft. I do run with quite a heavy wheel in KartKraft. If that's too heavy for you, feel free to reduce the overall FFB and maybe a little bit of that natural friction. So I have some general advice for other direct drive users here. FFB filtering in KartKraft is your friend. That helps to reduce the graininess and get rid of some of that oscillation right off the bat. 150% FFB gain in the game is just too much. So drop that down, pick up the filtering, and that gives you a good base to start working from. In your direct drive settings, if you've got any way of giving yourself some natural damping, please do so. In your drivers, if you have some way of introducing some friction to the wheel, that's also a good way to remove that oscillation. With the Fanatec DD1, I had to bump those things up very high in order to remove the oscillation on a flat track. On other tracks you still get it, but at least you don't have to death grip your wheel to stop it from ripping out of your hands. When using these settings, my general rule is to start really high and then work my way down to something that still feels good and doesn't have any oscillation. Then if I feel like I'm not getting quite enough feedback, I might reduce it a little bit more to see if I can get that feel in whilst keeping the wheel fairly stable. Hopefully you find the settings that I've provided here useful, or at least a basis for what you create for your own profile. If you did find this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any other setting advice, don't forget to leave it in the comments below and subscribe to this channel to see more of this kind of thing. Until next time guys, bye bye for now.